Hey, good afternoon, SPC 205. Hold on a second. I'm just fiddling with my screen here a little bit. Okay, hey, listen, next week we have coming up your first graded speech. It's going to be 50 points. It's going to be your a ceremonial introductory speech. This just quick rundown on what I will do before every speech is I will go over the grading rubric so that you know exactly what it's going to take for you to get a 100%. I tell you exactly what you need to do. I tell you everything you need to say. I try to make this as easy as straightforward as possible, because remember, public speaking isn't a magic. It's not a talent. It's a skill that we learn. And so what I'm going to do is walk you through the skills, the tools you'll need to use to make sure you get a good grade. So remember, the one thing I'm going to say over and over again about the ceremonial introductory speech is it is not a biographical sketch. If you get up there and tell us what date somebody was born, what businesses they started, and you just focus on what they did or what they have done, you're not going to get the grade you want. All right. You're there to introduce them to give a speech. The focus is not necessarily the person you're introducing, but you need to focus on the speech they're going to give. Everything should be related to the speech they're going to give. Their biography is not what we're there for. Yeah, you're going to want to talk about their qualifications, and we'll go into that again in just a minute. But the focus of this has got to be the speech they are going to be giving. Hold on a second. I want to kill the Wi-Fi here. Turn off Wi-Fi. Okay, that way I'm getting a ton of text messages today for some reason. I want to make sure those don't bother us. Okay, so let's go over it real quick. Time, 15 points. Again, time is very short on this. Should be, there is no reason for you not to get 15 points on time. Time for this one is going to be 2.5 to 3 minutes. 2:29, 3:01, out of bounds, 0 points. Okay, so a full 30% of the points for the speech comes with that in that 2.5 minute to 3 minute window. Go back when you do it. The one I posted on James doing, I had to do that thing 3 times to get it right because I had practiced it a lot and I really wasn't sure how it was going to work out. But to get the timing right for what the time was when I recorded it, had to do it 3 times. Recorded it, looked at it, went, oh, doesn't meet the time requirements, do it again. Okay, it was that simple. Okay, so your time is 2.5 to 3 minutes. And if you just redo it, it's that simple. I will never know how many times you do it. In fact, I applaud you doing it more than once. Physical delivery. Okay, if you stand with your feet shoulder width apart, you keep your hands separated, you gesture to the outside, you have your head up looking at the audience or where the audience would be, you get 10 points. It's that simple. Feet shoulder width apart, feet and knees slightly bent, hands away from in front of your body, elbows relaxed, gesturing, okay? It's 10 points. Vocal delivery. If you read off your note cards, you will not get the points you need. Remember, we're going for a conversational style. Do not write your speech out on your note cards. I'm going to say that again and again. Just please do not do it. It's going to cause you problems in the long run. Okay, just focus on talking to the audience. You're having a conversation. Remember good old-fashioned dialogic theory. If you're familiar with your material and you speak in a voice that's loud enough to be heard and you pause occasionally, you don't use too many vocalized pauses, you use a little vocal variety, you get 10 out of 10 points. That's simple. Okay? Now, when we get to content, everything in content has to be related to the speech. Has to be related to the speech. 5 points each. Qualifications. If I hear you say, and I want you to listen to this part because this is very, very easy and people make it much harder than it needs to be. If I hear you say, our speaker is qualified to deliver this speech, and then you give us their qualifications to give the speech, that's 5 points right there. Simple. What happens is a lot of times, and the reason I put qualifications up top is because that's where I have to usually write the most, because people will tell us all these wonderful things about somebody and then they come in and give us an absolutely, they'll tell us the qualifications, all the things these people have done, but it relates in no way to what they're talking about. An example. couple of semesters ago, someone came in and introduced Oprah Winfrey, who was going to talk about diversity in our schools. Great. She's established schools in Africa. She's been donated a lot of money to schools in the United States. She's a big advocate of education. They told us how many Emmy Awards she's won. Had nothing to do with the topic she was discussing. They got 0 out of 5 points for qualifications. They talked about her biography. They gave us a biographical sketch, but told nothing about how she was qualified to speak on the topic we were looking at for the day. Okay? Number 2, topic. Today, our speaker will be talking to us about. Finish that sentence, you get 5 points. I can't make it any easier than that. Okay? Relatability. We should all listen to this speech because. Relatability is where you tell us why we should pay attention. Okay? It's that simple. And the easiest way to introduce that is to say, as Aiken Technical College students, as human beings, as whatever, we should all listen to this speech because. And then you fill in the blank. Okay? Now, there is one thing about relatability that I sort of throw into this category that's sort of not necessarily totally related, but it's where I'm going to hang it. Okay? If you tell us the subject is dead, a lot of you guys have picked people, I've had, and there is one person that I really like. I have had people introduced from 2,000 years ago. They're dead. They can't speak to us. And if you tell us they're dead, they're not very relatable, are they? So if you tell us the person who's going to be speaking to us was assassinated in 1865, you're going to lose relatability points. Okay? Just so everybody knows. All right? Other things okay, so it's that simple. Time, 2:30 to 3 minutes. You hit that, you get the full 15. You miss that, you lose the whole 15. So go back and retape it. Physical delivery, feet flat, shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent, back straight, head up, hands away from in front of your body as much as possible. Gesture to the outside. Eye contact with where the audience should be. You get 10 points. Vocal delivery, you speak loud enough for us to hear in a conversational style with a little animation, occasionally pausing for effect, varying the rate, rhythm, and volume, 10 points. The speaker today is qualified to give this speech because, finish that sentence, 5 points. The speaker today will be talking about, finish that sentence, 5 points. We should all listen to this speech because 5 points. That simple. Okay, let's talk about penalties. If you edit your tape, if I see a jump cut where you've cut something out of your tape, that's going to be 10%. I have to do that because people have started doing that again, and I'll sit down and note on that before the speech. No jump cuts. If you're wearing a hat, no hats. Okay, 10%, 5 points. Okay, those are things that aren't really a big issue. Those are fairly simple. You have to have 2 note cards. And I can tell when you're reading from a script that's posted off camera. Now, I'm not going to get in a fight with somebody as to whether or not they were reading a script. I can tell the sentence structure is wrong. Everything about it's wrong. It's fairly obvious to anybody who looks. Okay, but here's how I do that, clean and simple. You will have 2 note cards for this speech, and you will need to look at them. Okay, because that's how we do it in the real world. In the real world, it's not like the Oscars where they have a big, huge screen right in front of you to read off of. You get up there with a couple of note cards, and that's it. You're on your own. And you can't write and just stare at them. You have to talk. Okay, so you will use 2 note cards. You use less than 2 note cards or more than 2 note cards, it'll be 10%. Okay, no 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, no 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper folded in half, 2 note cards no bigger than 4x6. And I will put out an announcement on all of this in the next day or two. Okay, that's it. That's how you get 50 out of 50 on this. I cannot make this any simpler. Okay? So, email me if you have any questions. Let me know. I'll be doing this every time. I've posted a link to a ceremonial introductory speech I did back over in the COVID-19 compound in Grovetown, Georgia, back when we were still sequestered. Okay? But if you have any questions, shoot me an email. We can talk about it and help get it resolved. All right? That's it. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.